The views and opinions of this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers. There is substantial risk of loss in trading futures and options, which you should carefully consider prior to trading. Well, as we take a look at the market trade wrapping up October on Halloween Thursday, it was not a spooky market day. In fact, it was a pretty quiet market day overall. A little bit of support again in soybeans thanks to bean oil. Corn was firm, wheat a little lower, mixed in livestock, and some moves in the outside markets too. Let's talk about things. Joining us for a conversation, Brian Doherty, Senior Market Advisor at Total Farm Marketing. Brian, good to catch up with you again this week, and a happy Halloween to you and yours. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Jess, and same to you and to your new little one in the family. First time trick or treating. How awesome is that?
Yeah. Definitely. We're gonna dress him up in a cow costume, it sounds like, and take him a little trick or treating for Halloween. So that's always fun, Brian.
I think you'll dress him up on whatever mom says you're going to dress him up in.
Exactly. Exactly.
So in the marketplace, yeah, quiet day in corn again. Seems to be trying to find a middle ground between $4 and $4.20. And December corn closed today $4.10 3/4. Back months finding a little bit of support. We continue to see a good export sales numbers popping up on daily, not every day, but we've seen a good run of them. I think we had 11 days in a row, then a day off, then one yesterday. I'm not sure if we had one today or not, but the point of it is the interest in buying U.S. corn is there. The crush for ethanol was solid this week, and again showed strong usage there. But there just isn't much else underneath the markets right now. Wheat was off 3 cents today. Beans did gain 3, but kind of a quiet day in the grains. As we look ahead, we're now through the end of the month. Historically, corn does have a tendency to be softer the first couple or 3 weeks of November. But then after that, as we kind of peer down the road, the big thing that's going to come front and center and is starting really in December is weather in the southern hemisphere, and that's going to be a big deal. Harvest is still well ahead of schedule. The 6 to 10 day outlook has above normal temperatures, but it's going to be a little wet. So we may have some trouble getting that last batch of crop in anytime soon, as it looks like the entire Midwest stays above normal in precipitation as well. So kind of put it all together, put it in the vat. The market's finding some support, let's say, like you said, in soybean oil. Soybeans have had a nice couple of days here, good reversal yesterday on the charts, double bottom on March beans. But again, no real catalyst. Nobody's stepping in front of this in a big way. We're just not seeing much on the news front either.
What are producers asking you as they're wrapping up harvest? We've heard a lot of talk of beans going to town, which is traditional, and a lot of corn going into storage, whether it's in the bin or in a corn pile, whatever the case is. I mean, to that respect, what are you hearing from producers? What's the big theme? Are folks wondering what to do in terms of corn marketing more than soybean marketing right now? I mean, what's your thoughts, Brian?
Well, this is particularly true in areas where the corn yield just it did better than people thought, or did as well as it might have looked. There's just a lot of bushels. But I'm going to tell you that the theme really is no theme right now. I think everybody's had such a string of weather and good that it's been wide open to try and get the crop harvested, get it tucked away somewhere, get it into a bin. The market hasn't moved enough to make any what I'm going to call easy sale decisions. So when we do drill down, though, we're looking at things. So what does the carry in the market look like? And are you working basis? Are you getting yourself in front of your elevator so if they get some hot bids, you're in line to capture those bids? But as far as like themes, I'm always looking for a theme. The theme this year has just been kind of wide open, get it done, kind of worry about it later. Things are pretty low price. There's not urgency to sell here. Nobody wants to sell here unless they have to. Um, or they have some extra bushels. I'm going to call them bonus bushels that they can spot out, just kind of call it a bonus or call it a day, but they don't want to pay commercial storage on it or a dump fee and commercial storage, those type of things. Um, yeah, I wish I had a little bit more to tell you this week. End of the month. Harvest that we saw in the weekly crop ratings and progress running ahead of schedule. And now it's just a matter of trying to get done.
I'll ask you this too, and we kind of touched on this the last couple of weeks, but obviously we have a pivotal election in front of us on Tuesday and a WASD report coming up here next week as well. How much could those events throw a wrench, throw some volatility into grains, livestock, the broader commodity sector? What's your thoughts there, Brian?
What I'm thinking here is that whatever, unless there's a surprise, a big mandate on the election that just, one or the other just wins in a landslide. I don't think anybody really knows beyond the election how this is really going to affect agriculture. I mean, there's some ideas and some thoughts, and President Trump, the first go around, was strong on tariffs, and he continues be strong on tariffs. But remember, agriculture was really kind of the swing in that was not the agriculture was more the tail, not the dog,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't know if there's been a lot of talk on that. I think on the big picture perspective, what what the market will probably do is ingest whatever the information it is, and then start looking for sources to kind of give ideas of direction of what the ag policy, if there's going to be any change or no change. My guess would be if Vice President Harris is elected, I've never heard a peep, and I don't watch her every speech, but I haven't heard a peep about agriculture. In the sense of, we need to do this, we need to increase exports, we need to do that. I haven't heard any of that. And same thing really for Trump. Really haven't heard it. It's kind of a silent uh, um, topic this year. Um, so I'm kind of cop out on you. I don't know. I've always said I don't really like to outguess what politicians are going to outguess because it's a
True.
crazy guessing game. But I don't think there's any real strong sense that anybody's looking for any significant changes, abrupt. Maybe I've not in the right circles. I haven't heard anything, but somebody say, "Hey, we need to gut the farm program," or "We
Mm-hmm.
need to up 30% the insurance payouts," or something. I haven't heard any of that.
Okay. Well, thank you for humoring me on that a little bit here. Let's go over to the livestock trade. Kind of quiet there too on Thursday. Cattle hogs, kind of just some back and forth, sideways action. In the case of cattle, we have been pulling back a little bit though here this week. Are you concerned with some of the chart action we've seen to close out the month in cattle, Brian?
I think you need to be a little concerned. If you're a chartist, you've been expecting a correction. We're getting a correction. We had some sell this week on everything. October, crazy day today. It's the last trading day, but settled $4.60 higher, but it was also down a whole pile as well, $4 or $5 down. So big swings, and a reason why. If your voters are your voters, sorry, if you're I'm still on the if your listeners are in a cattle contract, it's not a good idea to take it to the last trading day. We saw just a range of almost 184 to 193 in minutes, and the volume was light, and the open interest was small coming into today. But we did see some gain in the choice cuts again, and we're seeing some pretty good underlying strength. So technically, we've got what the market was needing and expecting, a correction, and that's all it is right now, like on the December contract. And it isn't much of one at that, from the standpoint that we basically went from 173 to almost 190, so almost a $16. And now our range is, let's say, 190 to 186. It's about a $4 pullback. That's not even close to 50%. And that's a lot of times what you'll look for. So it does look a little rough. The stock market looks a little rough. It too kind of hit the wall. We talked, I think, last week about that, and not followed through so far this week. So I think the bigger concern or question is, as you're heading into, let's say, this holiday season, how far can consumer dollars get stretched between presents and family gatherings and paying for beef? I would think the Packers have kind of bought what they're going to buy ahead for now, and I would think they're going to now be a little bit more complacent in their bids, unless I'm reading this wrong.
How about the dairy market trade? Any big notes there as we close out the month of October, Brian?
Yeah, the cheese market looks weak. Under pressure again today. The market had this beautiful uptrend, maybe overextended it. We always talk about markets overextending themselves and getting into the $23 plus area. and now correcting back. So it's a pretty hard correction. Dairy prices slumped again today as I'm looking at prices now. We're about 12 to 20 cents lower. So it's not a harsh day, but it's just not a positive day. And we've seen a number of things that are indicative of a market that just doesn't have sort of the demand underneath it right now, or there's a little bit too much supply. And we kind of go back, remember the milk production report a couple of Mondays ago. It did revise upward. So it's the September report or the September numbers in October. And it did revise some production upward, about 0.5% in the August report. So there really hasn't been friendly news there. But that being said, we haven't seen market forces come in and buy this cheaper product yet. And I'm starting to scratch my head and wondering if they will, because this is a good value as you head into the last couple of months of the year.
Brian, always appreciate your perspective on things as we close it out this week. Anything final you would share or reiterate to producers across the board?
Well, I think it's what we've said before, that in bigger supplies years like you have with grains, don't be afraid to set target points and kind of your wish orders. Sometimes they happen. So, case in point, when beans in early August started to rally, we encourage farmers to set some areas out there, and those hit. So it's a little uncertain when it hits. It's like, well, what am I missing that's driving the market? But we saw how quickly the market tipped over and went, right back south again. And we've seen that so often in these bigger crop years where you do get some buying and you do get some recovery, but it's short-lived. So set target points to be number one. Think about that for next year. But the last thing and the last theme I'm going to, let's say mention is, again, time of year is everything. When I look at the December corn price for next year at 440 on the futures, if you're a feed buyer, if you're a cattle producer, these are really good long-term values. Doesn't mean that we think the low is in, and those prices can obviously get cheaper. But at some point, if we end up with some weather markets, 440 by summer could look really cheap. And so just kind of bear that in mind.
Brian, great stuff as always. Folks want to reach out to you for a conversation as they're wrapping up harvest. They're at Total Farm Marketing. How can they get in touch with you?
I would encourage a phone call at 800-334-9779. We'll start with that. Or I would suggest shoot me an email, Brian at totalfarmmarketing.com. And Brian has a Y in it, not an I. Or check out our website, totalfarmmarketing.com.
Brian Doherty, Total Farm Marketing. Always good to chat with you, sir. Thanks for joining us on a Halloween Thursday. We will talk to you again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jesse.
Make sure to subscribe to the Market Talk YouTube channel. There, you can watch our latest interviews with the top market analysts in the country, find bonus content, and much more. Just go to youtube.com/markettalkag and hit the subscribe button, or you can search for Market Talk Ag on YouTube.